It's a record that puts her in the conversation. Jordan, Ali, Pele. Serena Williams is a lot more than just the greatest female tennis player in history. There is no Serena without Venus, the older sister who carved out her own extraordinary career while living in the shadow of her sibling. He was the ultimate overnight sensation. Boris Becker came from nowhere and became a legend. Agassi was a part of the most famous rivalry in tennis, the wild kid with the genius return who turned his life around. 4 tennis icons. This is the Immortals. Sport has rarely seen a domination of this level. Serena Williams has ruled the tennis world with an iron fist for the best part of 2 decades. Serena Williams turned pro at the age of 14. 21 years later, she defeated her older sister to win her 23rd Grand Slam singles title. Sound crazy? Welcome to the world of the greatest tennis player in history. Serena has continued to defy everyone and everything by refusing to end her domination of women's tennis. Her victory at the 2017 Australian Open meant she eclipsed Steffi Graf on the modern era's all-time Grand Slam list, and within 1 of Australia's Margaret Court. It's such a great feeling to have 23. I've been chasing it for a really long time. It was conceded that number 24 was a foregone conclusion, given the form Serena was again showing. But an unexpected curveball has a question mark now over her future. In April, Serena revealed she was 20 weeks pregnant, which meant she'd been around 8 weeks when she won her 7th Australian Open crown. In the lead up to the tournament, she'd spoken about her recent engagement to Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian.
Yeah, it's been really great. I've said from the beginning, like, I just didn't want to think about it until after Australia, because I was like, this Grand Slams mean a lot to me, you know? And I was like, well, I'm not going to think about it. So it's almost a little bit unreal right now, because I haven't taken it in, because I'm still being rather selfish and focused on my career.
Whether she can dominate the sport again or not, it's unlikely anyone will come close to matching her deeds on court. Serena's superiority has fueled the debate over whether the American should be regarded as the greatest tennis player, male or female. Roger Federer's resurrection in 2017, winning the Australian Open and Wimbledon, may sway many his way. But Serena argues her record, that also includes 14 doubles Grand Slam titles and 2 mixed, should have earned that title. If I were a man, I would have 100% been considered the greatest ever a long time ago. Her body of work is nothing short of extraordinary.
Serena, I think, is the greatest woman player of all time, of course, in tennis. And she's still going strong, so I don't know if her legacy will ever end, because she's like 35, going on 22. But, I mean, what she's accomplished is obviously just amazing. And I think the most impressive fact is like the longevity of her career, how she won slams in her teens and she's now winning slams 30 plus, you know? It's just, that consistency is remarkable.
The Australian Open victory over her sister Venus meant she returned to the #1 world ranking for the 7th time, 15 years after she'd done it the first time. She is the only player to win 10 Grand Slams in 2 different decades. No one else has won 2 of the Grand Slam tournaments 7 times each, or won 3 of the 4 at least 6 times.
Serena, the queen, congratulations. You're the best of all time, the greatest of all time.
Still to come on the Immortals, Serena's roller coaster ride to immortality.
Nice to see you, lady.
When Serena Williams was 9 years old, her father Richard and mother Oracene moved the family from California to Florida so the siblings could attend a tennis academy run by Rick Mackey. It didn't take him long to realize the Williams sisters were something special, particularly the youngest of the clan.
She had muscles on top of muscles even at 9 years old, and it's definitely all natural. But the thing that always stood out is just ferocious competitor. It doesn't matter if she was playing checkers, cards, tennis, getting a drink. She had to be first in line. She was just a brutal competitor, and you can see that today.
Serena's first Grand Slam appearance came at the age of 16 at the 1998 Australian Open, where she defeated 6th seed Irina Spalea in the opening round before coming out the wrong side of her first meeting with Venus on the tour. 18 months later, she was a Grand Slam champion, defeating Martina Hingis at the US Open. It was in 2002 when the world got its first look at the greatness of Serena. She put together what became known as the Serena Slam, winning 4 consecutive majors, the French Open, Wimbledon, and US Open, before starting off the following season with victory in the Australian Open. And each time, she defeated Venus in the final. Serena became the 6th woman in the Open era to win the career Grand Slam. A raft of injuries then sank her ranking to 139, but against the odds was when she often flourished.
I think for me, being mentally tough is probably my biggest strength. And my dad always said growing up, tennis is so mental. You have to have your mental and you have to be really mentally tough. And I guess I really took that to heart. And I also think being the youngest of 5 really kind of made me have to scrap and be tougher. So I think all those things kind of played into action. And yeah, I feel like it really, I think that's probably one of the biggest things in tennis is just having it's great to have a big serve too, but I think ultimately sometimes when you're down and out and you could be the best player in the world and you still get down, but you have to be able to come back.
That was never more evident than at the 2007 Australian Open. Serena was unseeded and seemingly out of shape, with the critics lining up to declare her star was on the wane. So what did she do? Produced a stunning run to the final, where she proceeded to wipe the floor with Maria Sharapova, conceding just 3 games in the final. I get the greatest satisfaction just holding up the Grand Slam trophy and proving everyone wrong. I just love that. The Olympic Games also feature prominently, and at London 2012, on one of her favorite courts at Wimbledon, Serena picked up her first individual gold medal by defeating Sharapova again.
I was ready for the match. I've had some good success against her, but I was ready for that. I mean, it was for me gold or silver, and I love gold. Gold's actually my favorite color. So I was like, I wanted it.
She then paired with Venus to win their 3rd Olympic doubles gold. Into her 30s, and with a new generation of challengers, Serena raised her game, if that was possible. In 2015, she claimed her 2nd Serena Slam, but then surprisingly came up short when aiming for the elusive calendar Grand Slam. All 4 majors in the same year. Only 3 women in history had achieved the feat. Serena won her 19th Grand Slam at the Australian Open, which put her past legends Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova on the all-time list. She then won the French Open, defeating Lucy Safarova before claiming her 6th Wimbledon crown. All that was left was the US Open title, which she'd won 6 times.
I never really thought I would be in this position where I would even be talking about, records or talking about passing Steffi Graf or even mentioning Margaret Court. I just grew up trying to be the best that I could and do the best that I could, and I worked really hard for everything. So to even be mentioned in that conversation is great.
In one of the biggest upsets in sports history, Italy's Roberta Vinci ended Serena's dreams with a 3-set victory in the semi-finals at Flushing Meadow. Unseeded Vinci had never played in a Grand Slam semi-final before, and in her 4 previous matchups with Serena, she'd never won a set. Every so often, a miracle happens. Serena bounced back in 2016 to win her 7th Wimbledon title, and then collected the 72nd title of her career when the Williams sisters rewound the clock in the Australian Open final. That victory by the then 35-year-old took her career prize money to an incredible $84 million, which is more than twice her nearest female rival. It's insane how good Serena Williams has been over 2 decades. There is no other way to put it. An immortal of world sport who might yet have another extraordinary chapter to come. Serena Williams earned $105 million in the 12 months to mid-2018. Forbes magazine estimates her net worth at $170 million, given she has endorsement deals with some of the world's most powerful companies, including Nike, Burley, Intel, and Gatorade. But it's her love of couture which appeals to the world's best tennis player, who has a personalized fashion line as part of an equity deal with the Home Shopping Network.
Right now I'm focused on fashion, and then when I'm not, I'm focused on Grand Slams. And I always love having goals, so that always makes it easier in a way.
She is a regular at New York and Milan fashion shows, mingling with the world's best designers. Serena and Venus also have a small equity stake in NFL franchise, the Miami Dolphins. And in 2016, purchased ownership shares in global mixed martial arts brand UFC. Up next on the Immortals, the extraordinary longevity of the other Williams.
Get me to understand that I couldn't.
She was the driving force, the wise head, the elder statesman of the combination. Venus Williams also happened to be one of the greatest players of the modern era. After their first professional match against each other at the 1998 Australian Open, Venus Williams declared she hoped she got to be world #1 before her little sister. I just thought I'd get there before her, and she'd have to take it away from me. Venus, who was born 15 months before Serena, did achieve that goal, climbing to the top of the rankings in February 2002. By that stage, she was already a 4-time Grand Slam champion. Venus started to blaze the trail for her baby sister in 1997, when as a 17-year-old, in just her 3rd Grand Slam, she reached the final of the US Open. And it came with controversy, with her semi-final opponent Irina Spurleya appearing to intentionally collide with Venus during a changeover. Her father labeled it an act of racism.
I'm not gonna move. I mean, she's never, she's never trying to turn or whatever. I mean, she thinks she's the f***ing Venus Williams, and that's it. She's not gonna turn, or, she just walk like this. So I was like, I wanna see if she's turning, So she didn't, so Well, I mean, I'm not having any injuries from that bump, so I think we just both weren't looking. I think we both were just concentrating on just trying to stay in the match and trying to win the match. I mean, I really wasn't even thinking about that, so I'm sorry she feels that way, but it's not really a big thing to me.
Venus lost the final to Martina Hingis, but by the end of the year, her ranking had jumped to number 22. Her first Grand Slam victory came at Wimbledon in 2000, where she defeated her sister in the semi-finals and Lindsay Davenport in the final. Venus then went on a 35-match winning streak that included the US Open title and Olympic gold medal at the Sydney Games. In 2001, she repeated her Wimbledon US Open double again, with the final in New York a Grand Slam first between two sisters. The baton was then passed to Serena, who rattled off 4 Grand Slam victories in a row, from the 2002 French Open to the 2003 Australian Open, defeating Venus in all 4 finals. Apart from causing distress to their rivals, the Williams sisters were also making it hard for their parents.
They just say, good luck. No, they don't say too much, I think. They just probably want the one who didn't win last time to win this time. It's like, they wish we would take turns, I think.
They did that in the 2008 Wimbledon final, with Venus winning her 5th title at the All England Club over Serena. The following year, the roles would be reversed. Injuries and form issues saw an 8-year gap before Venus again played in another Grand Slam final. In 2011, she was diagnosed with Sjogren's syndrome, an autoimmune disease which forced her to switch to a raw vegan diet to try and get back on the court. She did return to win her 4th Olympic gold medal in London, teaming up again in the doubles with her younger sister.
Oh, well, it's just a dream come true, really. That's the huge appeal, and it's a wonderful experience to be a part of something so amazing. And for me, the Olympics was beyond my dreams. To participate and to actually have success there I had never dreamed of it. And I didn't realize how wonderful it would be, so I always say that it was beyond anything I'd ever dreamed.
In terms of the sort of hierarchy of important events in tennis specifically, where do you place the Olympics?
Always at the top. Yeah.
Coming on down, Venus Williams.
It's no surprise that as a unit, the Williams sisters were an impenetrable force, winning 14 Grand Slam doubles titles. Venus's return to a Grand Slam final at the age of 36 at the Australian Open was one of the feel-good stories in world sport of 2017. It set the record for the longest span between Grand Slam finals, with her first coming 20 years earlier. Serena again got the upper hand in a tight final, winning the 28th meeting of the pair, with little sister leading the head-to-head battle 17-11. While she'd made her own piece of history in the final, all Serena wanted to talk about was the immortal on the other side of the net, who showed her the way to the top of women's tennis. She's my inspiration, the only reason I'm standing here today, and the only reason that the Williams sisters exist. In many ways, his arrival mirrored the way he played. Boris Becker exploded onto the tennis scene in 1985, winning his first title at the Queen's Club tournament in London, just 12 months into his professional career. Then, 3 weeks later, he was the youngest ever Wimbledon champion, stunning the All England Club at the age of 17. He was the first unseeded player to claim Wimbledon, and also the first German to win on the coveted grass court. This is going to change tennis in Germany. I am the first Wimbledon winner, and now they have an idol. Becker's booming serve and athletic volleying, coupled with his flamboyant personality, was a combination which gripped the tennis world. I've never seen a guy that could serve you off the court like that with angles. He returned 12 months later and defended his Wimbledon title, taking down world number 1 Ivan Lendl in straight sets. By the time he was 23, Becker was already a 5-time Grand Slam champion and became world number 1 after again defeating Lendl to claim the 1991 Australian Open. Injuries and distractions off the court saw the German lose his way for a number of years, before returning to the Wimbledon final in 1995, losing to American Pete Sampras. The following January, he won his second Australian Open title, but injuries became a constant issue towards the end of his career.
I've learned to be very patient over the years, and I just hope that my next injury, hopefully I don't have any more anymore, but my next injury is not going to be the wrist.
Becker retired in 1999, but wasn't lost to the game, working as a commentator before taking over as coach of Novak Djokovic, guiding him to 6 Grand Slam titles.
He has an incredible amount of motivation to win. It's not the first time that he's winning Grand Slams, but he keeps on getting better and better. Most players, when they've won already so much, they lack a little bit in hunger and wanting to do what's necessary to win. Novak's different.
Djokovic lifted the Wimbledon trophy twice under Becker's watch at the place the German calls his second home. He even refers to the date of his 1985 victory as his second birthday. I became a sporting superstar and hero to some on that day. It is a place I call home. And that's why Becker is forever a part of tennis folklore, a Wimbledon legend, an immortal of the game. When we return, the rocky road to greatness for Andre Agassi. He put the sport on the map, endured crazy highs and devastating lows, before Andre Agassi became the ultimate ambassador. The greatest returner the game has ever seen was also responsible for reviving tennis throughout the 1990s. Andre Agassi was the rock star from Las Vegas who dazzled, then crashed, only to enhance his legend by returning better than ever. He was the number 1 player in the world in 1995, a 3-time Grand Slam winner, and the biggest sports star in the world. 2 years later, he was off the rails. His ranking had slumped to 141, and many believed his career was over. But in 1999, Agassi was back at number 1 and completed the career Grand Slam after winning the French Open. He is one of only 8 players in history to have won each of the 4 major tournaments, something his great rival Pete Sampras was unable to achieve. Their rivalry captivated the world, with the pair meeting 34 times, with the honors to Sampras 2014. Even people not following tennis ended up following our rivalry. Ever the street fighter, Agassi went on to win 8 Grand Slam titles, including 4 at the Australian Open, the last coming in 2003.
Oh, no question. Listen, it's not a mystery that or secret that I wasn't the best athlete out there on the tour. I had to find ways to work harder and to prepare myself for some of those battles that you can never really planned for, you know, and that meant building your strength, that meant putting it in, that meant having it. You might not need it, but it's certainly better than needing it and not having it, and this equipment was crucial for 2 decades.
Agassi lived his life in the spotlight on and off the court, highlighted by his marriages to Hollywood actress Brooke Shields and then tennis superstar Steffi Graf. He was the former wild child who became one of the most loved and respected figures in the game. A true immortal.